You know, you have a melancholic feel when I look at Andre the Giant. He was such a sweet giant.
You mocked me once, never do it again! I died that day!
When you consider watching a good movie, you'll recall the unexpected moments that enrich cinematic masterpieces like The Princess Bride. This cherished classic told as a bedtime story went on to become a beloved cinematic jewel. The Princess Bride's phenomenal success and cult status reflect the whimsy and magic it provides to viewers all around the world. But that doesn't mean the film is free of errors, bloopers, and Easter eggs. Here are things most devoted fans failed to notice.
Were you burned by acid or something like that?
Oh no, it's just they're terribly comfortable. I think everyone will be wearing them in the future.
The plot. Based on William Goldman's novel of the same name, The Princess Bride's plot unfolded like magic, weaving adventure, love, and courage into an enthralling tale. In a dimly lit room of a pleasant home, a grandfather sits beside his unwell grandson's bed. The room is filled with the serene calm of approaching nightfall, broken only by the constant beep of medical equipment and the gentle rustle of pages turning. The grandfather carefully opens a worn book and begins to read aloud, his voice carrying both the weight of time and the beauty of storytelling. He narrates a story about adventure, love, and redemption set in Florin, a fictional realm. The story follows Buttercup, a bright young woman whose life turns unexpectedly when she falls in love with Wesley, a farmhand. Their romance is pure and unyielding, booming over the fields of their modest farm as Wesley responds to Buttercup's every request with the words, "As you wish." But fate is a cruel mistress, and Wesley's adventures take him far from Buttercup's side as he pursues his fortune abroad. Tragedy strikes when he is presumed dead and lost in the cruel grasp of the dread pirate Roberts. Left to fend for herself, Buttercup's life is sad when she is forced to marry the arrogant Prince Humperdinck. Buttercup's fortunes alter dramatically when she is kidnapped by a motley crew of outlaws, including the vengeful Inigo Montoya and the gentle giant Fezzik. Buttercup is chased by opponents on all sides, including the unstoppable Prince Humperdinck and his army, and entangled in a cyclone of peril and deception. As the story proceeds, the grandson's initial apathy transforms into rapt attention, drawn in by the plot's twists and turns. He waits with bated breath as the enigmatic man in black, who turns out to be none other than Wesley himself, fights against the odds to save his beloved Buttercup from evil. Despite dangerous marshes and risky encounters, Wesley and Buttercup's love shines as a beacon of hope in a world full of darkness. With each flip of the page, the grandson's imagination soars with the heroes on their incredible journey. However, the true heart of the story is not in daring escapes or dramatic fights, but in the timeless power of love to overcome all obstacles. As Wesley and Buttercup's reunion nears, the grandson's enthusiasm grows, hanging on every word as the climactic struggle continues. Ultimately, love triumphs over adversity, as Wesley, Inigo, and Fezzik attack the castle to save Buttercup from her would-be abductor. With courage and determination, they overcome every obstacle in their path, demonstrating that real love has no bounds. As the final pages turn, the grandfather looks down at his grandchild, a smile spreading over the corners of his mouth. "What did you think?" he asks, knowing very well the answer. And, when the grandson's eyes light up with delight, he murmurs the familiar words, "As you wish." As the grandfather shuts the book and tucks his grandson into bed, the enchantment of storytelling remains in the air, bonding them in an immortal bond formed by the power of imagination and love. When they fall asleep, their dreams are filled with thrilling adventures and epic romance, carried by the wings of a story that will live on in their hearts for eternity. The casting. Reiner cast Cary Elwes as Wesley in The Princess Bride based on his performance in Lady Jane. However, a practical stumbling block occurred during the casting process because Elwes was filming in West Germany for Maschenka at the time. Undaunted, Reiner drove to West Berlin to speak with Elwes, reiterating his confidence in Elwes's appropriateness for the role. Despite screening several actors for the role, Reiner and casting director Jane Jenkins were persuaded that Elwes was the ideal choice for Wesley. Elwes viewed the opportunity to play a character he had adored since childhood as a dream come true, a role he had never believed he could play. The hiring of Robin Wright as Buttercup in The Princess Bride was a fortunate coincidence. with Wright's audition taking place just days before filming began. Despite a series of auditions with several English actresses, director Rob Reiner and casting director Jane Jenkins has yet to discover the perfect Buttercup. A slew of great performers, including Uma Thurman, Meg Ryan, and Whoopi Goldberg, had competed for the role to no avail. Wright's route to the job began when her agency became aware of the casting call and encouraged her to audition. Initially hesitant, Wright's audition left an indelible effect on Jenkins and Reiner himself. When Wright was invited to meet with famed screenwriter William Goldman, his arrival appeared almost pre-planned. Jenkins vividly recalls Wright arriving at Goldman's doorstep, gorgeous in a white summer dress, her golden hair gleaming in the sunlight. It was as if she had stepped out of Goldman's screenplay, a tangible manifestation of the figure he had created. As Goldman looked at Wright, he said the words that sealed her fate. "Well, that's what I wrote." At that point, it was evident to everyone present that Wright was destined to play Buttercup, her ethereal presence perfectly encapsulating the essence of the role. The casting of Cary Elwes and Robin Wright as Wesley and Buttercup, respectively, marked the end of a lengthy search for the ideal match to bring Goldman's famous characters to life. Their chemistry was evident from the moment they appeared on film, and their performances were steeped with a sense of enchantment and genuineness that captivated viewers all over the world. When William Goldman initially imagined the character of Fezzik for The Princess Bride in the early 1970s, Andre the Giant looked like the perfect fit, with his towering stature and mild temperament. However, Andre's hectic wrestling schedule made him unavailable for filming. As an alternative, Goldman considered Arnold Schwarzenegger a relatively unknown actor. However, by the time the film was approved, Schwarzenegger had risen to prominence, making him unaffordable for the studio. Despite efforts to bring in other towering individuals like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Lou Ferrigno, none proved to be a good fit. Andre initially hesitated to take on the part, citing language issues and his background as a wrestler rather than an actor. Andre was also suffering from the agonizing effects of acromegaly, which contributed to his untimely demise. Even though Liam Neeson is skilled, he was deemed too tall for the job during auditions. However, fate intervened near the conclusion of the casting process. The World Wrestling Federation told casting director Jane Jenkins that Andre's conflicting wrestling match in Tokyo had been canceled, allowing him to join the production as Fezzik. Andre found working on The Princess Bride to be an enriching experience. On set, he was treated with the same dignity and camaraderie as the rest of the actors, rather than being looked at as a spectacle. Andre discovered that playing Fezzik was not just a part that displayed his unique talents, but also a sense of belonging among his co-stars. In the end, Andre's portrayal of Fezzik brought warmth and genuineness to the film, endearing him to moviegoers and sealing his position in cinematic history. Cary Elwes injured his toe. During the early stages of filming The Princess Bride, Cary Elwes found himself in an unexpected situation after accepting an offer from Andre the Giant to drive Andre's ATV. The ill-fated excursion resulted in Elwes crashing the vehicle and breaking his left toe, casting a shadow of concern over the production. Despite the excruciating pain emanating from his wounded toe, Elwes attempted to conceal the severity of his injuries from filmmaker Rob Reiner. However, Reiner quickly became aware of the incident, requiring the production crew to create a workaround to accommodate Elwes's condition. Elwes, known as shooting around the injury, wore a splint on his toe and made a concerted attempt to limit weight-bearing on his left foot. The timing of the incident was terrible because it occurred shortly before recording critical scenes, including the pivotal moment when the Dread Pirate Roberts is revealed as Buttercup's beloved, Wesley. Observant viewers may notice Elwes subtly favoring his left foot during these scenes, taking an elegant sitting posture with his legs stretched to relieve strain on his wounded toe. Rob Reiner initially saw Elwes's graceful adjustment to accommodate his injuries as a purposeful, stylistic choice. The filmmaker admired Elwes's seemingly casual performance of Wesley, ignorant of the underlying anguish that drove his actions. Reiner marveled at Elwes's ability to imbue even the most basic motions with elegance and poise, utterly unaware of the actor's silent struggle with his injury. Producer Andy Scheinman agreed with Reiner, describing his initial opinion of Elwes's performance as a testament to the actor's expertise and grace. However, when Scheinman learned of Elwes's toe injury, his attitude flipped, emphasizing the actor's unwavering dedication and resilience in the face of hardship. Despite the setback, Elwes persevered, focusing his attention on the next sword-fighting scenes by fine-tuning his arm movements and minimizing reliance on footwork. His devotion to upholding the integrity of his character's performance, even in the face of physical suffering, demonstrates his professionalism and dedication to his trade. Cary Elwes and Robin Wright wanted to kiss more. The last sequence between Cary Elwes and Robin Wright in The Princess Bride, which culminated in a kiss characterized as leaving the crew all behind, was significant for both actors. Surprisingly, this poignant moment signaled the end of filming for Elwes and Wright. Director Rob Reiner was initially pleased with the first take of the scene, but Elwes and Wright, overtaken with emotion and friendship, were unable to let go of the moment. Elwes frankly recalls their mutual joy, comparing it to the infectious laughter of youngsters caught up in the moment. Elwes and Wright sought more takes to capture the exact expression of their characters' love and affection, resulting in 6 kisses. For Elwes, the experience was tinged with bittersweet nostalgia, as he found himself hesitant to leave the world of The Princess Bride. While Elwes cannot speak for Wright, he openly admits that he could have filmed the scene indefinitely, his reluctance stemming from a solid attachment to the film and its characters. In their final hug, Elwes and Wright were torn between the urge to extend their time on set and the reality of saying goodbye to a project that had grown so important to them. This scene was significant not just for its depiction of romantic love, but also because it marked the end of a transforming journey for both Elwes and Wright, who had poured their hearts and souls into creating their characters. In their common reluctance to let go, Elwes and Wright captured the core of the film's enduring charm, making an indelible impression on audiences around the world. The Big Blooper. In a critical scene from The Princess Bride, Prince Humperdinck meets Buttercup and Wesley while they try to depart together. Buttercup, desperate for Wesley's protection, decides to return with the prince in exchange for his pledge to spare her beloved. Despite the prince's assurance, betrayal hovers in the air as he throws a fast blow to Wesley, knocking him out before capturing and torturing him. Behind the scenes, actor Cary Elwes, who plays Wesley, revealed an unexpected detail about the sequence. During production, Elwes recommended to Christopher Guest, who plays the evil Count Rugen, that he softly hit him on the head with a genuine sword rather than a prop with a rubber point to add authenticity. What followed was a moment of surprising realism, as what spectators saw as Wesley's on-screen knockout echoed Elwes's bodily experience. The impact of Guest's tap with the genuine sword caused Elwes to lose consciousness, his body surrendering to the intensity of the hit. Elwes's following recall was waking up in a hospital room, his head bandaged up from the unexpected injuries. Fortunately, Elwes's injury was not as severe as it appeared, and he rapidly recovered from it. Despite the mishap, Elwes returned to the set undeterred, embodying Wesley's enduring spirit with his iconic declaration, "As you wish." This behind-the-scenes anecdote provides insight into the dedication and commitment of the cast and crew of The Princess Bride, whose passion for the project extended beyond the screen. Elwes's willingness to undergo bodily discomfort in the search for authenticity demonstrates the film's significant effect and long-lasting legacy in the hearts of people all around the world. Robin Wright caught fire. The first day of production for The Princess Bride took place in the charming yet perilous surroundings of the Fire Swamp, an extravagant set expertly built inside the limits of a soundstage. As the cameras rolled and the performers took their parts, excitement mixed with trepidation, especially with the use of special effects and pyrotechnics to bring the fantasy environment to life. William Goldman, the renowned author of the beloved novel and the mastermind behind the screenplay adaptation, was also on site. Robin Wright was critical to the sequence, with her character's destiny hanging in the balance when her garment caught fire, a pivotal moment that necessitated rigorous planning and precautions. Wright's outfit was made of fire-retardant material, supplemented by layers of fireproof clothes and an attentive helper armed with a fire extinguisher, ensuring her safety amongst the controlled mayhem of the shoot. Despite the extensive safety precautions in place, the unexpected occurred when Wright's garment caught fire, engulfed in a tornado of flames. In a short second, panic gripped the air as Wright's co-star, Cary Elwes, tried to extinguish the fire, only to be cut off by a piercing shriek from behind the camera. Director Rob Reiner's voice shattered the silence, calling for an abrupt halt to the proceedings with a resounding "cut." The reason for Reiner's intervention became apparent as the source of the commotion emerged. William Goldman, His face, contorted in alarm and disbelief, had unintentionally disrupted the take with his frantic outburst. In the heat of the moment, Goldman's reaction was that of any worried spectator seeing an unexpected disaster. Despite his profound grasp of the scene's complexities, Goldman's senses were temporarily overwhelmed by the sight of Wright engulfed in flames, resulting in an involuntary shout of terror that echoed throughout the set. Reiner, ever the voice of reason amidst the tumult, quickly interjected to clear the air and gently reminded Goldman of the scene's careful staging. Reiner calmly admonished the surprised writer, coaxing him to recall the planned order of events. "Bill, it's supposed to catch fire! Remember?" Reiner's words served as a reassuring anchor, guiding the production back on track and restoring a sense of balance to the scene. In the aftermath of the incident, laughter mingled with relief as the cast and crew regrouped, united by the shared experience of navigating the unpredictable terrain of filmmaking. Haunted by the thought of Danny DeVito, Wallace Shawn's portrayal of the crafty Vizzini in The Princess Bride left an indelible impression on moviegoers, but behind the scenes, Shawn struggled with a continuous cloud of uncertainty that marred his performance. Despite his extensive experience, Shawn was tormented by the memory of Danny DeVito, who had been considered for the role prior to his selection. Cary Elwes, who shared numerous sequences with Shawn, noticed a tangible uneasiness in the actor's manner while filming. Shawn's hesitation quickly became clear. He was not the first option for the character of Vizzini, with director Rob Reiner expressing a strong preference for DeVito. Shawn's dread of future replacement grew as a result of this knowledge. Throughout the production, Shawn struggled with an internal dialogue that constantly contrasted his performance to the possible interpretation that DeVito may have given to the character. Each scene becomes a battleground of self-doubt, as Shawn battles to live up to an imagined standard of brilliance established by his predecessor. Despite his best efforts, Shawn's confidence fluctuated, overshadowed by the persistent anxiety of falling short of Reiner's expectations. Reflecting on his experience, Shawn openly revealed the inner anguish that persisted during production. Every moment on set was filled with dread as he battled the nagging fear of inadequacy, believing that his performance paled in comparison to the potential brilliance DeVito could have brought to the role. However, Rob Reiner has a different take on Shawn's contribution to the picture. While noting the actor's initial anxiety and occasional errors, Reiner insists that he never considered replacing Shawn. According to Reiner, Shawn's portrayal of Vizzini successfully captured the essence of the character, depicting the clever criminal mastermind with grace and precision. The legendary sword fight. The classic duel between Westley and Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride took rigorous planning and training to acquire iconic status. Cary Elwes and Mandy Patinkin, who played Westley and Inigo, trained extensively with famous fencing teachers Bob Anderson and Peter Diamond. Months of hard training preceded the filming of the sword fight, with Elwes and Patinkin putting their all into perfecting their parts. However, their passion and expertise proved to be a double-edged sword, as the rehearsed sequence was carried out with such speed and perfection that it ended far too soon. Elwes recounted Anderson and Diamond's initial presentation of the sword fight to director Rob Reiner, which was performed at half speed and lasted roughly 3 minutes. However, as Elwes and Patinkin improved their mobility skills, the combat increased considerably. When they showed Reiner the updated choreography, the entire routine was completed in 1 minute. Expecting recognition for their efforts, Elwes and Patinkin were surprised when Reiner voiced unhappiness with the fight's brevity. Reiner expressed his discontent by scratching his beard and saying, "That's it?" It was clear that Reiner envisioned a more protracted and visually spectacular combat that would fully utilize the set's grandeur, notably the majestic cliffs of Insanity background. Determined to match Reiner's expectations, Elwes and Patinkin went back to the drawing board, working with Anderson and Diamond to enlarge the sword fight. They meticulously planned extra sequences and moves, extending the battle's duration by 2 minutes. The end product was a brilliant display of swordplay that captivated audiences and cemented The Princess Bride's status as a Hollywood classic. Andre was struggling. Cary Elwes's memoir sheds light on Andre the Giant's physical challenges during the filming of The Princess Bride. Elwes recounts that Andre, far from being at his physical peak, was in considerable discomfort due to the toll taken on his body by years of carrying his enormous weight. Andre's health issues were exacerbated by a painful condition caused by his size. Andre was scheduled for surgery after finishing his work on the film, and in the interim, he could only manage his discomfort with booze. Elwes gives a vivid image of Andre's fantastic ability to consume alcohol. Elwes describes Andre's famed drinking skills, revealing that Andre shunned traditional glasses in favor of beer pitchers, which he lovingly dubbed the American, and could hold an astonishing 40 ounces of alcohol. Director Rob Reiner also recounted anecdotes about Andre's notorious drinking habits, citing one instance in which Andre arrived on set feeling ill after consuming a staggering amount of alcohol the night before. Despite his tremendous ability, Andre occasionally overindulged, resulting in noteworthy situations, such as the time he passed out in the hotel lobby after drinking too much beer. Rather than disturb the sleeping giant, hotel officials chose to discreetly fence off Andre's prone form with a tiny velvet rope, allowing him to sleep undisturbed on the elaborate carpet. Andre's tenacity was just as astonishing as his physical stature, despite his outlandish actions. The following day, he appeared unconcerned, hailing a cab as if nothing unusual had happened. Despite the physical toll of his condition and his legendary drinking habits, Andre remained a beloved figure on set, adding an unforgettable dimension to the production. Billy was quite funny. Billy Crystal's portrayal of Miracle Max in The Princess Bride is still one of the film's most iconic and cherished scenes, demonstrating his comedic genius in a performance that was both amusing and heartwarming. The scene in which the eccentric healer revives Wesley after Miracle Max declares him mostly dead is a masterclass in comedic timing and improvisation. Crystal's transformation into the outlandish character of Miracle Max began with his physical appearance, which he deliberately modeled after a combination of his grandmother and former Yankees manager, Casey Stengel. Drawing on his own experiences with elderly Jewish relatives and acquaintances, Crystal imbued Miracle Max with a blend of affectionate caricature and uproarious humor. Once on set, Crystal was given free rein to unleash his comedic talents, improvising many of the scene's most memorable lines with razor-sharp wit and impeccable delivery. His rapid-fire comments and irreverent humor had the actors and crew laugh so hard that they had trouble keeping their cool. Director Rob Reiner famously had to leave the studio at one point, overtaken with laughing to the point of feeling physically ill. Cary Elwes, charged with sitting immobile during the scene, found himself unable to contain his own laughter in the face of Crystal's comedic brilliance. His repeated inability to keep his cool resulted in numerous ruined takes, prompting the sound department to intervene and replace Elwes with a dummy for certain shots. Even Mandy Patinkin, who played the determined swordsman Inigo Montoya, found himself unable to contain his laughter despite his best efforts. Patinkin's attempts to conceal his laughing resulted in a damaged rib, the sole injury sustained throughout the scene's filming, demonstrating Crystal's infectious sense of humor. Alternate ending. Cary Elwes addresses his role in The Princess Bride, claiming that he was aware he was not the first choice for the part. He advises agencies against disclosing such information to their performers in order to minimize disappointment. In an unusual twist, filmmaker Rob Reiner was allowed creative freedom to change the original material, including the possibility of an alternative ending. Elwes contends that an alternative ending could have saved the film from obscurity. The original climax, written by William Goldman, differs significantly from the version seen on screen. In Goldman's original version, the story finished with the grandson, now an adult, encountering the book's characters and inviting him to join them on a new adventure. However, this complex finale was subsequently scrapped in favor of a more clear closure. In the film's last scenes, the grandson, who had previously questioned his grandfather's narration, is entranced by the story. Despite his initial reluctance, he begs his grandfather to recount the story to him again, demonstrating the narrative's lasting impact on him. Elwes considers the decision to maintain the original ending for so long, expressing uncertainty about the logic behind it. Perhaps it was a nod to Goldman's original concept, or a reflection on the story's enduring appeal. Legacy. Initially, The Princess Bride performed relatively well at the box office, collecting $30 million in the United States and Canada against a $16 million production budget. However, its actual influence would be felt years later, as it became a treasured classic, thanks to successive home video releases and word-of-mouth accolades. Critically, the film received significant acclaim for its creative take on the classic fairy tale genre. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an outstanding 98% approval rating. The majority on the site calls it a delightfully postmodern fairy tale, praising its clever blend of swashbuckling adventure, romance, and comedy for revitalizing the age-old damsel in distress narrative. Audiences also praised the picture, giving it an A+ rating on CinemaScore. Dalton Mullins, an American critic, praised The Princess Bride as one of the best love stories ever made for film, citing the tangible connection between the two performers, Cary Elwes and Robin Wright. Mullins emphasized the tremendous emotional depth expressed through small gestures and silent conversations, focusing on the repeated phrase, "as you wish," as a symbol of undying commitment and sacrifice. Despite its original response, The Princess Bride has endured as a cult classic, connecting with fans on a deep level. The film, known for its iconic quips and ageless charm, has stood the test of time and is still a fan favorite throughout the globe. Cary Elwes, reflecting on the film's ongoing popularity on its 30th anniversary, attested to the enduring power of its quotable lines, stating that fans still approach him with warm memories and recitations of legendary speech. At the 60th Academy Awards, The Princess Bride received a nomination for Best Original Song for Storybook Love. It also received accolades at the 15th Saturn Awards, winning in categories such as Best Fantasy Film and Best Costume Design, and nominations for Best Writing and Best Actress for Robin Wright. The film also won the 1988 Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation and the People's Choice Award at the 1987 Toronto International Film Festival. The Princess Bride got additional recognition for its outstanding contributions at the 9th Youth in Film Awards, when Fred Savage was named Best Young Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. Furthermore, the film received a nomination for Best Feature Film Casting in the Comedy category at the 4th Artios Awards, cementing its reputation as a timeless cinematic jewel cherished by both audiences and industry professionals. We hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.